Kevin Smith is bringing it back to where it all started, the Quik Stop, Clerks 1994. It all comes full circle now with the latest Clerks 3. My buddy Tim is going to be on in just a second here to talk about that with me. It's time to talk about Clerks 3. Hey guys, Dan here, and it's Tim with me over Zoom for Clerks 3. Hello, Tim.
Hi, everybody.
I see you've got your beautiful Clerks 1 and 2 DVDs on display.
Yeah, I got Clerks 1, Clerks 2. Also behind me in other places, I have Dogma, I have Chasing Amy, other Kevin Smith movies.
I tried to set mine up, but I don't think you can see them. I think I'm too far away. But
I can tell that's Chasing Amy and
it's Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma. I've got Jay and Silent Bob Reboot on that side. Somewhere I have Zach and Mary Make a Porno too, but that's not part of the View Askew-universe, as they say. So
I think I have that somewhere as well.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring you along for this one because we both had Clerks in our top 50 films of all time, the original 1994 Clerks. What a movie.
Yeah, I looked it up. I believe I had it at 12.
Okay, and that's higher than me. I definitely had it in the top. It wasn't in the top 25, I don't think, but it was probably in the top 30 or 35, somewhere in there.
That was my first list of 40. I couldn't find my list of 50, so I don't know if it changed a little bit, but that's roughly where it was.
Yeah, very high up, I think. Yeah. So we have a big history with this movie, with Kevin Smith in general. I saw this. I've talked this story to death on my channel in various videos, but I saw the original Clerks in 1994 at the Ritz in Philadelphia. We took a day off of school, me and my buddies. I had heard about it on Ebert, or Siskel and Ebert. I had read about it in Entertainment Weekly. They were all giving it these raves, and I thought it looked weird. And so we went, and I loved it. It became sort of a cultural touchstone for me and my friends throughout the rest of high school and college. And then Clerks 2 came out 2006. And I saw that twice in 2 days in the theaters. I saw it with one group of friends, and then somebody else wanted to see it. I was like, sure, we'll go see it again. So then we get to Clerks 3, and this is a little bit of a different model, which we can talk about. But yeah, Kevin Smith is releasing it in theaters for 2 weeks only, 7 p.m. shows only, to kind of, I don't know, more word of mouth, and more the fans will get to see it. And there's some special things involved with that we can talk about. But what is your history? Obviously, you didn't see Clerks, in theaters back in the day. You're a bit younger than me.
No.
So what's your history?
I remember my sister renting the first one from Blockbuster Video, and was like, "Hey, you want to watch this movie? I heard good things about it." And like, we turned it on. We were like, "What is this movie? It's in black and white." And then we both loved it. We started like following Kevin Smith stuff. So saw Mallrats on DVD as well, and Chasing Amy as well. I saw Dogma in theaters. I went with my sister to see Dogma. My sister's 4 years older than me. And then we actually went to like a sneak preview for Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. It was like that with like the others that
Nicole Kidman.
And it was like right before I went to California for the summer. So it was like kind of like, and then I started working in a movie theater, and I saw Clerks 2 there. I never actually did see Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, but
it was good. Good maybe is too strong even. It was okay. It was clearly fan service movie. I think I gave it maybe a B- or something. It's one of the better things he's done lately, but I don't know that says a whole lot.
Yeah, and it was just like kind of like in that, like he did like a whole kind of like tour with that, where like kind of just city to city with that type of thing. And so I think that's kind of like how he kind of went into this as well. He wanted to be like kind of like special, and not just like, he wanted the people who wanted to see it and didn't really care about the general audience, I guess.
Well, and he's done that with his last few movies. I remember seeing, and it wasn't at our theater, Tim. It was we had to go about 40 minutes away. The one with Johnny Depp's daughter, Yoga Hosters. He did the same thing. It was like a one-night event, and maybe they did it 2 nights, like a week apart or something. But It was, yeah, like one evening show. You paid a little bit extra. I think it was maybe $15 or something. And then you got the behind the scenes thing. You got a little interview thing with Kevin Smith, and then you saw the movie. That one turned out to be not so good, but yeah, I guess this is sort of his thing now, and he travels to some of the things doing Q&As afterwards.
Well, and he also would travel doing an evening with Kevin Smith shows where he would just go and people would ask him questions, and he would just tell stories and stuff like that. Me and my sister actually went to one of those things as well, and he told amazing stories about like working with Bruce Willis on Cop Out, and
yeah, those are good stories.
And like the whole Nicolas Cage Superman thing, like that story as well, like some great stories like that, and you guys see it live. So like,
and you can get those on DVD as well. I have, I think, 2 of them. It's called An Evening with Kevin Smith, 1, 2, and 3 or whatever. I have, I think, 1 and 3, but yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. One person asks a question and he'll go for like 45 minutes on just that.
Yeah. So growing up, like me and my buddies really got into it. Oh, and also I own Clerks, the animated series as well.
Nice.
That gem. So me and my buddies really liked it. We took like a pilgrimage is what we called it, to Red Bank, New Jersey, visit the Quik Stop, and like his comic book store there. So it was kind of like a thing like for me and my friends in high school, and we really got into it.
Yeah, I think that's really what these Kevin Smith movies have done over the years for a lot of people. Because, like I said, I was the same way. I mean, this was we would quote it all throughout, the rest of high school and college. And the Mallrats came out. We had seen that in the theater, so we did a lot of the jokes from that and references and stuff. So, so these last few years, for me, it's been a little bit, I don't know if sad is the right word, but Kevin Smith, I don't think his movies are not as great as they once were. I don't know that that's a secret, but Clerks 2 was fantastic then. So I was like, okay, this is great. This guy's really doing it. And then everything that kind of came after, Tusk was okay, et cetera down the line. But when you go back to Clerks, when you go back, to the Quik Stop set, and which they did film there in New Jersey, and you have the original Clerks cast and everything, it's definitely something a little bit special. So we're going to do sort of a very, very basic plot. We'll talk about our feelings. And then I think the last, whatever section of this video, we'll get into a little spoiler territory. We'll warn everybody when that's coming. But I think there's things in this that I definitely want to pick your brain about and see what you thought that maybe goes more into the spoiler zone.
Yeah. So the plot of this movie is everybody kind of is returning. You have your Randall and Dante, and Randall has a near-death experience, and then he decides that he wants to make a movie about his life, and he recruits Dante, Elias from Clerks II, and Jay and Silent Bob to help him create this movie, which is basically filming some scenes from Clerks 1, Clerks 2, and stuff like that. It's kind of very meta that way, and that's the plot of the movie.
Yeah, and I will say, Jay and Silent Bob reboot was, as you would imagine, also extremely meta. All the inside bits and quips, and you didn't have that experience to watch it, but to me, a lot of this movie sort of did feel like, all right, well, we already kind of did fan service the movie with Jay and Silent Bob, with the reboot. Now, Clerks 3, I definitely had mixed feelings. I liked seeing them recreate the things. I love that they got many people back. But to me, the whole movie felt a little bit off. And I have really mixed feelings about it. So I that's the other reason we agreed to do this video together before I even watched it, but I'm glad we did, because I really would love to get your take on some of the things in this movie. One thing I can say is these guys, other than Kevin Smith himself, obviously don't do a lot of movies. We don't see them popping up in various things. Brian O'Halloran is great as Dante. He was in Mallrats as well as a different character. He was fine there. He only had like one scene, I think. But Um, when he did some of these emotional scenes, they did not land for me. I did not think he was acting very well. There's one scene where he is yelling, and I thought that was a good part. There's a fight that transpires, but in these emotional scenes, I didn't it didn't connect with me.
Oh, I thought he did a great job. I bought it. And I mean, like I always thought they were okay actors. And the other guy, Randall, is played by is it Jeff Anderson?
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm surprised that he actually didn't get more work after after Clerks the first one, because I always think that his comedic timing is always great and his sarcastic wit is great. And he had some emotional scenes too, and I thought he did well with his emotional scenes.
Yeah, I thought his were definitely better than O'Halloran's for sure. I know sometimes they were in the same scene, but yeah. There's things at the end that I believed and I thought O'Halloran did a good job with, but yeah, those scenes in like the beginning and the middle of the movie, I didn't connect with them, and I also thought his reaction shots seemed unnatural as well. Smith has a way of sort of putting it on the person's face, and the other person talks, he puts it on their face, so we see different reactions from O'Halloran pretty close up, and I don't know, I just didn't think he was giving it his all, but I just don't think he's talented enough, and God bless him. But yeah, that for me was a little bit of a miss, unfortunately.
Oh well,
yeah.
It didn't bother me.
What about the Elias character? Because of course, like you mentioned, we saw him in Clerks II. That's where we met him. They bring him along for this. He sort of has his own version of Silent Bob in this movie. I thought it was fine. I mean, everything in this universe is so silly anyway. But I did not at all buy his change of. I don't want to get too spoiler here, I guess, but he basically changes his entire life viewpoint based on one thing. And I get it. They had to propel the storyline, but I didn't buy that really.
I mean, for his character from the first one, I actually do kind of buy it. I mean, yes, you have to put your suspension of disbelief a little bit for that. But I think they kind of needed to do something with him, because like all the jokes from Clerks 2, if you kept doing those type of jokes with his character, I think it would have got stale. But I loved all of his different outfits and costumes, and it just got a little bit more.
I mean, that was the best part for him.
Just got more and more ridiculous. I do think that like in the beginning, his acting was kind of like the weaker of all the acting, but then I kind of remembered like that was kind of his character from the first one. He was kind of like kind of just a little off. And or the second one, I guess, his first appearance.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know this for sure, but it seems to me like this was kind of shot in order, scene for scene, because I felt the same. Like I thought he was a little bit off at first too, and then I'm like, well, this guy really doesn't act in movies either. So I guess it makes sense that he'd be sort of getting on along the way. But you said it would be like telling the same jokes, but this whole movie is telling the same jokes. I mean, they're doing a lot of the same bits from specifically the first one, but a few callbacks to the second one as well, which I was okay with. But I just, after seeing Reboot already, I sort of felt like, didn't we go to the let's make fan service the movie already?
But I think when they're filming some of the scenes from the first one, it is really Kevin Smith kind of telling the story of like why he made certain decisions, and like basically everything that they put in there was like kind of like how they had to film it or why they had to film it.
And I mean, down to, he gives a quote for the price of that the movie would cost. I mean, we get it. Obviously, that's the price Kevin Smith spent on the movie, and and I liked seeing it. I liked seeing those people. It reminded me of the funniest scenes, obviously, from that old movie. And I love certain people that they got to return. Could that have been told, at one of his, stand-up specials where, he could just show on a screen that, I get, I don't know. Did we need a whole movie? Maybe we did. Maybe the fans did. I don't know. I always got the feeling that Clerks 2, if you never saw Clerks 1, I think you could watch Clerks 2, be on board with the characters, get the humor, even if it was the first Kevin Smith movie you ever saw. This, I feel like, if you aren't fully invested in the Kevin Smith experience, this is going to be just meaningless. And obviously, I get it. We're big fans.
Yeah.
So it'll work a little differently for us. But yeah, I can't imagine somebody watching Clerks 3 as opposed to Clerks 2 and getting anything out of it.
I think they would have a tough time at the beginning, but as the movie goes along, I think it winds up with a lot of heart. And the way it ends, I think you kind of needed them making that movie because it makes sense in the long run.
It makes sense for the story, for sure. And Kevin Smith has said in interviews that he's, basically the Randall character. And so it makes sense that he would be the one directing the movie and everything. Even though Dante is kind of the star of the Clerks universe, I feel like. But Jay and Silent Bob, on point as always. Every scene hilarious. I love that they turned the video store into a THC store.
Yeah, and how they're selling it out of old cassette tapes. It's brilliant. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, talk about the things for me that just hit 100%. And the good thing about that is you would never have to see a Clerks movie to get that, as long as you saw any of the other, if you ever saw Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back or any of them, Mallrats, you would get that. So every scene they were in was gold to me. Always loved them. What else? Oh, the audition scene when they were auditioning for the movie, I thought was okay, but again, it was just it was a little hacky. Let's bring back the whole cavalcade of the previous Kevin Smith movies, and have them do bit.
It was fan service, but I mean, some of the people that they got it was funny. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Okay, I do have one. All right. Well, all right. I'll save that for spoiler time. All right. So let's grade the movie, because I think I want to talk spoilers now. We'll talk about some other things.
Okay.
We'll give our grades, and then I know you're going to be higher than me on this. I did not dislike the movie. And afterwards, you didn't know about this when you saw it, but there was a 15-minute little documentary about making it, interviewing people. And so unfortunately you missed out on that. But I will say that did kind of, I don't know, just hearing Kevin Smith talk about making the movie and how passionate it, is for him to hear from the fans and blah, 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 that definitely raised me up a little bit as I was leaving the theater. So I'm sort of between a B and a B minus on this. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt because it's Clerks related. I'll give it a B.
Okay. So another thing is that the near-death experience that Randall has in the beginning, I believe it's in the trailer, is that he has a heart attack. Kevin Smith also had a heart attack. So I feel like this is a lot of his story. So it makes sense. And he survived the same type of heart attack. So it makes sense. And I enjoyed it. I think some of your points are valid. I think this is really for the fans. If you enjoyed Clerks 1 and Clerks 2, I think you should enjoy this movie. I never saw the reboot, the Jay and Silent reboot, so maybe it's pulling a little bit from that, and maybe that's why I enjoyed it a little bit more. So I think I'm going to leave it with a B plus. I was thinking about an A, but
well, here's the thing, Tim. I mean, everyone I know personally that went to see this, that is a big Clerks and Kevin Smith fan, absolutely loved it. You know, if you ask them, they would say, "Oh, it's an A, it's an A plus, whatever." But you know, as a critic here, I have to try and think about the whole picture.
Yeah.
And certainly anyone that's never seen a Clerks movie would be like, "No, that's a D. Like, this is so stupid. I don't get it." So I can appreciate really both sides of that argument. So I feel like my B minus range is sort of splitting the difference a little bit.
I mean, I'd probably give it like, if if I wasn't like, I'd probably give it, for me, an A minus.
Mhm.
I would probably, as a movie, take my feelings aside, I still think it's a good movie, and I would give it a B plus.
Okay, and I think that's fair. All right, so let's talk spoilers a little bit, because in the montage, since we were sort of talking about that, of the people auditioning, it, did I miss Fred Armisen in a Kevin Smith movie?
No.
Okay, they're just buddies or something. They just kind of, because it was like he was bringing back all these people. You know, he brought back the sailboat, Ethan Suplee from Mallrats, Affleck. Obviously, we knew that was coming.
I don't think he's ever, like, maybe he's done like some type of other project with him, because Sarah Michelle Gellar hasn't been in a.
I guess that's true. Yeah, he did Freddie Prinze and Sarah Michelle too.
I
Okay.
mean, that was the first movie Sarah Michelle Gellar has done in like 13 years or something like that. It's crazy.
Hey, she's coming back for something or other. I just read.
Yeah.
I forget now. Okay, so it was just basically his buddies or something that wanted to be in it.
Yeah, and like maybe he wrote something or something like that. Like, okay. I don't know. Did he write Scooby Doo or something like that? Did he have a cameo in Scooby Doo?
Who knows? Maybe he was a producer on Scooby Doo or something. All right, so that isn't really that spoilery, but the other thing, this isn't really spoiler either, but I was glad to see that his daughter and wife had a minimal role in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, they brought back his wife to play the character that she played in the second one.
Right, that would make sense. And she's an okay actress. The daughter is literally one of the worst actresses around. She was part of Yoga Hosers. She ruined Reboot had its own problems, but she was like a main character in Reboot.
I thought you liked her in Cruel Summer. Wasn't she Cruel Summer?
Yes, I do like her in Cruel Summer. I will admit that. So basically any project that's not her dad's, I guess. Maybe he can't write for her. I don't know.
She was barely in this. Like she
but that's what I mean, though. I was happy to see that because, believe me, Reboot, she's like a pretty major character throughout the whole movie.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's a stinko. So yeah, she just appeared at the end of this, and I was fine with that. And the wife makes sense because, like you said, she was in Clerks II. Her part, it made complete sense with the story, and all that. All right, now I knew going in, or I shouldn't say I knew, I was very sure going in that one of the two gentlemen dies, because I had heard an interview with Kevin Smith that said about, you know, it's a fitting end for one of the characters. You don't really say that unless they're dying. So I sort of figured somebody was dying. I figured it wasn't going to be Randall because that was like the first scene of the movie. So I was not, unfortunately, that surprised by the final end there, but I definitely cried about it. I got very emotional, because these are characters I've known for 28 years. So I will say, and that stuff was great. He was very good in the scene at the end with Rosario Dawson when they're at the movie theater. That stuff, I enjoyed his emotional acting.
Yeah, I did not see it coming. Even though he foreshadowed it as well, and just like, I mean, at the end of the movie, I'm like, how did I not see that coming?
Right.
Like,
especially because I knew something was up from that interview. All the foreshadowing, I was like, all right, well, obviously, Dante's getting railed here.
Yeah, so I didn't see it coming. They foreshadowed it. I mean, so I'll give it to him for that. Like, usually I call that stuff. Like, I was like, when he was having the fight, I was like, okay, and he has a heart attack as well. I'm like, oh, okay, now they're going to have a funny story that they both had heart attacks. Well, I was wrong.
Yeah, he died.
Yeah. And then I felt the way that, like, if Randall had just made a movie, I feel like it'd be like, okay, but the fact that he made the movie, and then when he got in this big fight with Dante, he realized that the main character of his movie is not him, it's Dante, was so touching.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the way,
what a great scene in the hospital with Randall and Elias.
yeah,
With him, telling him off. I thought that was his best scene for sure. Elias's,
yeah, that's
even though
why,
he's funny in the other ones, but
yeah, but I feel like that's the thing. I feel like knowing that scene, then it was like, okay, this guy can act. I feel like in the beginning of the movie, it was just like, okay, I'm doing my stupid character from the first one type of thing. So like, I think he has some acting chops in there. He has to layer it under the stupid character that he's playing.
right.
So I don't know, or maybe he just had a good death or something. I don't know. But yeah, I felt like, and I liked the way that they had him watching the movie in the movie theater with Rosario Dawson, but it wasn't the film that they made. It was
the original. Yeah. Well, and that should be your first hint that he's dead, Tim, when he starts seeing clips of the original Clerks, because you still don't know, I think, by then that he's died.
No, well, I feel that he wasn't dead at that point. I feel like at that point, it was like when he was like walking away with Rosario Dawson, and she's like, "Don't you want to stay for the movie?" He's like, "I know how it ends," and that's when he flatlines. Like,
yeah.
So I mean, I enjoyed how they used Rosario Dawson in this movie as well. Like,
yeah, me too. I didn't really want to talk about that during the non-spoiler part because she's in it briefly, but yeah, I mean, she dies, after the events of Clerks 2 very quickly, because I think the tombstone said 2006.
Yeah.
And I guess they had a child as well that passed. So yeah, I thought, I saw her name in the credits, obviously up front, so I knew she was in it somewhere, but one of the first scenes we see her sort of, or Dante sort of, I don't know, wishing, talking to her ghost or whatever, talking to her picture, I guess I should say. So she's dead. So I assumed at some point she was coming up as a ghost.
I interpreted it as that she was pregnant with child when she passed away, not that they actually had a child.
Oh, okay. You're probably right on that.
But there wasn't a second tombstone, so.
Oh, yep. See, Tim, you're nailing it. Yep. So that was good. I love that they got original people back that were just customers of the store to literally reprise their roles. I thought that was so cool. And he talks about that specifically in that documentary, Tim. But yeah, like those people that in the first Clerks, the woman checking the milk and the guy looking for the perfect dozen, like those were just regular customers that they paid for a day, I guess, to be in the movie. They found them and put them back in this version of the movie. I thought that was really cool.
Well, the egg checker he's a regular. That's Walter Flanagan. He played.
Oh, that's right.
He played 4 different roles in the first Clerks.
Right. But I just mean like in general. Yeah, you're right. I forgot that was specifically Walter Flanagan. But well, and at the end of this one, they have his daughter checking the milk, I guess, instead of maybe the girl woman. But yeah, like a lot of the people, return. The Chuli's gum guy is back. We love him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was all really cool. Yeah, at some point, I don't know if they'll release the documentary with the DVD or something. I know you're not as much of a DVD collector these days, but it might be cool to see it.
I probably would get this DVD just to like
complete the set.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, if that 15-minute doc is on there as a bonus feature, that would be cool for you to see. All right. Well, I guess that's it, right? Anything else? I figured you would like it a little more than me.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen a good Kevin Smith movie, so it was nice. I
mean, this is better than Reboot. I would say this is the best one since, I guess, Zack and Miri.
Yeah, Zack and Miri was good. I mean, like I feel like Clerks 2 is probably his best one since Dogma.
Yeah. Well, Zack and Miri was after that, though.
Yeah, but I feel like Zack and Miri was a little bit under Clerks 2. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I Clerks 2 for me is an A. It's like A+, A, and I give this one a B. So they're all good. But yeah, I mean, for the fans, for sure. I don't know why anybody would seek this out, I guess, if they are not a true fan.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe that's also why he's doing the Fathom event, because he knows that if he released this as a wide release movie, people would come that didn't know Clerks 1 and 2, and they would be upset, and they'd be like, "What the hell did I watch?" And then they would just go on and like give it a 1 star and be like, "This is crap."
Well, and the other thing doing it this way is you don't really have to promote it. Like, you don't have to pay for ads. You don't have to, it's not really a full studio release. He can tweet about it. It'll go to the news wires. The fans will know, and then they'll go.
Yeah, and like, so only fans are going to seek this out. So you're not going to have people that don't know what they're getting into and come see it and hate it. He's making it for the fans. Fans know that it's a Fathom event. It's out there. It's these nights only. And if they want to go see it in theaters, they'll go see it in theaters.
Yeah. And there was about 20 people, I think, in mine.
I had like 3.
And you saw it on Friday, right?
I saw it Friday, but I saw it at a smaller theater in Carlisle. You probably saw it in Harrisburg.
Yeah, I saw it at our old stomping grounds. So yeah, there was about 20 there. But yeah, it's only in theaters a couple more days, and then I guess eventually it will go to DVD. But yeah, it was a 2-week limited engagement, so I'm glad that I got to sort of complete the set and see this one while I could.
Yeah, I'm glad I saw it. I was planning on seeing a different movie, and then I was like, oh wait, Clerks 3 is out? Okay, I'll go see that. I can see the other movie some other time. So
yeah, for sure. All right, well, Tim, thank you for joining. This was a great conversation as usual.
Yeah, it's great. So if you are a clerk, go and see Clerks. But I mean, if you made it this far into the video, hopefully you've seen Clerks 3, because then we've just ruined it for you.
Yes. Good point. All right. Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll see you next time on Dan Reviews It. Bye.